All right, we are live.
Hey guys, welcome in to Futon for Thought. How are you guys doing? My name's Zach, obviously my man Scott. Oh man, it has been such a crazy couple of weeks, man, because I don't know about you, but I mean, for one, let's start off. Today's topic is one of my favorites, and I think his too, serial killers. Since it is getting into, spooky season per se, Halloween is my favorite time of year. I don't know about you.
Oh yeah, anytime with sweatshirts.
Yeah, for sure.
And Halloween to Christmas is probably the best three months of the year.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, I think we'll start it off with your guy from Virginia, from your home state.
Well, yeah, but first I want to talk about, kind of one of the reasons we pick serial killers.
Oh, yeah.
And especially with watching the Dahmer on
Netflix.
What's up, Clout? Welcome to the stream, bro.
What's up, man?
The one thing that I took from everything is how everything seems to be glamorizing. Now a lot of for what I take from serial killers is they do it not for whatever sick fantasies they have in their head. A lot of them do it for their fame so that their name lives on forever.
Right.
So I would like, for one, in the future, whenever there is a serial killer, treat it like a minor. Don't release his name. Don't make him famous.
Right.
If you're going to release anybody's name, release the name of the victims.
Right.
Let them live forever.
Let their name should live on, especially with Dahmer, man.
Let him die in anonymity.
Yeah.
Now, with Dahmer, I know you've watched the entire.
Yes.
I watched one episode. I couldn't do it.
I'll just start off with, RIP to Dahmer took 17 lives from 78 to 91. Like, he started his first victim when he was a teenager. Like, that's just insane. And like you were saying, but see, with him, he actually had a sexual thing with guts and bones. And it wasn't even just like a homosexual thing or a gay thing or whatever with him. It was literally like he got off with holding intestines in his hand. And like, that's how he would jerk off and get excited. Like, nah, bro. And that Jeffrey Dahmer thing on Netflix, if you have not seen it, go see it, please. Evan Peters, Niecy Nash, phenomenal performance all the way through. I will tell you, it gets a little dicey. It gets a little intense. I know.
It does. And it's like I learned more, just asking you, like, hey, what happens there? And, and it's one of those things, the story. We've read the stories. We've watched other documentaries. We've watched.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, no. Same. Because it's the first one, man, had me so anxiety ridden.
No, it starts off like this on the first episode, and then it's just like this all the way through the very last episode to the 10th episode, because most people know that Dahmer got killed in prison in 94 by another inmate. Now that inmate told him that he was a warrior from God, because Dahmer, fun fact, Dahmer got baptized the same day John Wayne Gacy got executed, the same day. Like, that's just insane, because he thought that if he could just get baptized, he would be forgiven for 17 victims, and especially cannibalism. Sorry. So, yeah, no, it's insane. When you eat people, bro, you got issues. Like, big time.
Yeah, you're not stuck on the top of a mountain.
No.
You're not, you're not on a raft at sea.
Yeah.
You walk past 3 restaurants to get a victim. So
yeah, for sure. And see, with Dahmer, it was even like he would go to the clubs and get young African American Latino dudes. He had 2, if I'm not mistaken, at least 2 of the victims were Caucasian. The first one was a hitchhiker, and he had a fantasy about killing a jogger, but didn't go through with it because he just had stage fright. But then the more he drank, the more he would do it.
Yo, Lasky.
What's up, Lasky? Welcome in, man. But no, I just like, oh man, that Dahmer thing on Netflix, me and the wife binge watched it almost. Like we binge watched almost all 10 episodes, because it goes from Dahmer's first kill all the way to his arrest, to where the Niecy Nash played Glenda Cleveland, who was a saint to that community, who yelled at the top of her lungs for months and almost a year to the police about, hey, I'm hearing weird noises, weird smells, da da da, and the cops never did anything. Not a thing until they actually walked into his apartment and found Polaroids
on accident.
Yeah, that's how Dahmer got caught, is Polaroids, because he used to take pictures of his victims after he did what he did. Like, sick, twisted for sure. But your guy from Virginia, though, because was it actually in the town you
lived?
lived?
So this is wild. All right, so I'm a little bit older than most of y'all, you know, and especially everybody in the gaming community knows me. You know, I didn't start gaming into all that until my kids were grown.
Right.
So I started a little bit older. So I'm mid 40s.
Right.
And the one thing, I'm trying to get this. There we go. The one thing that was weird growing up, you know, so 86. All right, so let's go ahead and start with the backstory. So from 1986 to 1989, the Colonial Parkway murderer killed 8 people, 4 different couples. Colonial Parkway, if anybody's not familiar with Virginia or the Williamsburg area, it runs pretty much from Richmond all the way down to Yorktown to the Chesapeake Bay.
Okay.
And it's just a 2-lane road. It's a 2-lane road. You've got the York River on one side, and then you've got country and Williamsburg and battlefields and just all kinds of historical places all over on the left side. So, and in the meantime, there's all these little cutoffs that you go in and out of for the tourists to go in and take pictures and stuff like that.
Right.
So growing up, my mom would take me and my sister and our cousins or friends or whatever, and we would always go there. I mean, we were 5-10 minutes from there. What's up, Fives? So
welcome in.
We were right there. So that was our fishing. We would go crabbing there. We would go fishing there. The first bodies they found
was right there.
Was in the same spot we parked. And the worst thing about it was, especially as you grow older, the bodies were mummified.
Oh man!
So those bodies were there at least 1 or 2 of the times that we were there fishing.
Oh yeah, for sure, under the water.
You know, and of course, when my mom was taking me and everybody else out there, I'm 8, 9, 10, 11 years old.
It's crazy.
You know, and my sister, who's 6 or 7, and my mom by herself, we could have easily been. So, but over a 3-year period, the Colonial Parkway murderer killed, like I said, 8 people, 4 couples. The first couple was a lesbian couple that they found skeletonized up near New Kent, which is right off of Colonial Parkway, where you would actually connect onto Interstate 64 to go into Richmond. Found, I mean, it's all woods. A lot of that up there is still so undeveloped. You know, so for them to say 86, it could have easily been 85 because that was when they went missing.
Right. Is that the one couple that out of all the 8 victims that went missing that they never found?
No, they found them. They found 6.
Okay.
And he's attributed to 8.
Okay.
Just because of the area that the last 2 went missing in. One of the special connections I have with the investigation was the Knobling case. David Knobling was 20. His girlfriend was 14. We won't even get into it here, but man, 1986 was some wild shit. So,
you're right.
You know, what's different today, who knows? But anyhow, so they were out on a date. They had met that day at an arcade and had became boyfriend and girlfriend that fast.
Right.
And had gone out on a date to Colonial Parkway, which, if anybody, especially when you get to be a teenager, it's basically lover's lane because it's completely dark.
Is it like a spot where you can like park up and you know
overlooks the water?
Oh, okay.
It's, you know, it just depends on the moonlight.
Right.
Me and my wife had our first date there.
Nice.
So thank God he didn't pop up that night.
Right.
Now David was, when I first started working, I was working in landscaping, and one of my boss's best friends, Carl Nobling, and David was his son.
Wow.
And it was probably 2 or 3 years after I knew his son had passed away. I was never privy to the
how it happened.
And being 17, 18, I really didn't care.
Right.
You know, I was more worried about, you know, getting paid and going and hanging out with friends that weekend.
Right. For sure.
But so you've got all of that. You've got the personal connection. it the worst thing was, and the one thing I'll say a serial killer does is, although everything in his life remains static and unchanged, everybody else's lives around him is completely chaos.
Right.
Because we didn't go fishing out there anymore.
Right.
You know, when I was 17, 18, 19, there was no way in hell I was going out there with my girlfriend.
Right.
You know, because
right.
we didn't know. They never caught him.
Wow.
I mean, he could be out there, he could be dead, he could be in prison.
Right.
You know, it's you don't know.
Oh, so they never caught him.
Never caught him. Wow. Because of the manner that some of them were found and the descriptions of some of the people. There were some people that believed that he was an off-duty police officer.
Okay.
There were some people that believed he was just a military or security officer.
Okay.
And okay, so
just the way the crimes were,
the
like
way they were,
or the bodies were found,
exactly,
and stuff, the way they were preserved.
Now, and you have to look to the west of there was Fort Eustis, which is an Army base.
Okay.
To the south of it was 3 different Navy and 8 Air Force bases. So,
okay. I mean, Virginia alone is a good military state for sure.
And the fact that they only lasted 3 to 4 years and then just abruptly stopped led a lot of people to believe. Now, my question would be I would start going around and looking at other unsolved mysteries around naval bases or Army bases that fit the same MO.
Right.
Then maybe you can kind of correlate them in with whatever, like, hey, well, they stopped on this date. Right. And they started on this date.
Right.
So let's cross-references the list of military personnel on the base at this time and with any that transferred to the base at this time.
Right.
But I'm not a detective, so I know.
Exactly.
Now, the scary part is, all right, so 1994. And now remember what I said. This was 86 to 89.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as they knew, after 89, there weren't any more.
Right.
But
another one popped up.
Well, see, my main thing is I grew up in Newport News, Virginia.
Okay.
Newport News its nickname became Bad News. I think because all of the gangs and all the other crime and violence around there became so more prevalent, I think it took some of the pressure or some of the attention away from it. Because up until then, it was like, hey, stocks are up, the corn is growing, it's going to rain tomorrow, and by the way, we haven't caught the Colonial Parkway murderer.
Right.
So that was all that was out there. You know, and then all of a sudden you have the gangs and the Crips popping up, and then murders every night.
Yeah.
And, you know, so it just got to where it was back page news. And to be honest, it goes back to what I was saying earlier. When it became back page news, maybe he himself was like,
man, I'm not important anymore.
What the fuck?
Yeah, because like you said earlier, with serial killers, they like to do, sometimes they do stuff for the fame or the fortune or the recognition, like God, what is his name? The Zodiac Killer.
Yep.
Zodiac Killer, used to write into the San Francisco newspapers.
And if they didn't publish it, he would kill more people.
Yeah, man. Or Son of Sam. Son of Sam, too. Son of Sam wrote into the police. And, I mean, Son of Sam's still alive, though. Yep. He's actually in...
was it Berkowitz?
I think so, yeah. Berkowitz is his last name. But he's in upstate New York prison. He's like 80-something.
Okay. So, 1994.
Yeah.
Me and my buddies, we're up in northern Williamsburg at a party. Full disclosure, we were messed up.
Right.
Coming home, and the easiest way and the best way to avoid authorities was Colonial Parkway.
Right.
And man, I shit you not, my buddy Brian mentioned, he's even said to you, well, we're going to get pulled over by the Colonial Parkway. I'm like, shut up. When we got 2 miles to the end of Colonial Parkway, and all of a sudden a blue light goes off behind us.
Oh, damn.
And I've spoken about this before. I did a 911 channel, and one of the episodes we did the Colonial Parkway murderer, and I addressed this at the end. And he comes up, just kind of puts his hand on top of my car and kind of looks in and sees me in the driver's seat.
Right.
And my best friend Brian,
right,
who at the time was, like 6'10", 280, 300 pounds.
Right,
and
big dude.
Derek in the back, and Derek's big dude too. He's probably 250.
Damn.
Probably 6'5".
Right.
Either way, they were killing my gas mileage.
Right.
But
right.
Still,
right.
They saved my life that night, I think, because I think that was him.
Because if it would have just been you and a chick, it'd have been game over.
Done. Hey, I need you guys to pull over here.
Bro.
But here's what happened. So he walks up, never looks down enough to where we can see his face, and the whole time keeps his flashlight
right in
on
your
us.
face where you
Now,
can't see him. Yeah.
the one thing we did notice, and of course, like I said, 18, 19 years old,
Right.
I remember more now than I did when I was 18, 19.
Right.
But when he pulled me over, I noticed like I'm in an 88 Hyundai.
Okay.
He was in a 79 Pontiac with a dashboard light. So that was weird.
Yeah.
We're getting pulled over by an undercover, and who the hell drives a 79 Pontiac?
Right.
And then we also noticed one, he's like wearing jeans and Timberlands.
Mm.
And then
so not a full like police officer.
No, he
uniform.
looked more like
a detective.
No, he looked more like if you ordered a security guard off Wish.
Oh damn.
But he had, but all you see, especially as a teenager, is a badge.
Right.
And flashing lights. So you don't know. So when he comes up and he's like, "Where are you boys heading?" And I was like, "Well, we're heading home. We were out at some friends' houses." And he's like, "Oh, okay." He goes, "You live around here?" I said, "Yes." I told him we lived, like 3 miles down the road. I said, "We're only 5 minutes from the house."
Right.
And at that time, you could still see him. I seen him lift up, and he shined the flashlight over, and then he shined it over like this. And he's like, "All right." He goes, "Well, I'm just checking on y'all, making sure you're all safe."
Right.
Here, he never asked for my license.
Right. Or your registration or anything.
Never asked my name.
Right.
Didn't walk to the front. Never seen him shine the flashlight on my license plate. So it's one of those that has stuck with me over the years. Like, whoa, whew, that was close. And the one thing, like when we started, and it was funny, is like we got back to the house and we're sitting around and we started talking about it. And Brian's like, "Told you." He's like, "I told you." And he's like, "Why do you think he didn't ask for your license?" Because he can't take our license, hand it back to me, and let us go away because we've given him his fingerprint.
Right.
So it is what it is. I mean, it's sad to think for the families. 8 couples and all, or eight people, 4 couples and all.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, a loss of life is
and
a
no
loss
closure.
of life.
That's the
no.
worst
That's
thing.
bro.
No closure. You had a guy. I think there was a guy in mid 2005, 2006 that on his deathbed he confessed, but when they went back and investigated, he was in the military,
right?
But he was stationed in Germany.
Oh,
so
they wouldn't link up.
No,
right.
I mean he was just doing it. Like even the ones that can't do it, they're still going to try and get their name in.
Right.
He knew he was going to die, and probably the only way he was going to keep his name was to lie about it. But
Dahmer did the same thing when he was in jail. Dahmer used to flaunt his fan mail and the fact that people were writing him and people were making comic books and Halloween costumes and all this and all that. And then his dad went to write a book, but then the lawyers from the victim of the families went after him as they should. And, he didn't make a penny off of anything. Any money, even if you were a fan of Jeffrey Dahmer back in the day and you sent him $5 in the mail to the prison, they would take it and give it to the family.
See, right there you go. The word fan. That bothers me.
Yeah, man. Like it's dumb. It's
all those people that paid thousands of dollars for John Wayne Gacy's
all his paintings and shit. Yeah, dude. Gacy was another crazy one too.
I can understand to be enamored with the lifestyle or the thought process that would go into actually taking somebody's life, or the process of going around it.
Right.
Like there's days I don't like taking out the trash. I can imagine what it would be like trying to dissolve a dude in your bathtub.
Right. Well, see, I mean, Dahmer did the acid, but then he started off, like I said, in 78, he started with a hitchhiker. And then whenever he tried to get rid of the hitchhiker's bones, he would take them to the basement and was smashing them with a sledgehammer, right? And then he would take the bones and then go scatter them in his backyard, thinking that was like, they were just going to dissolve or go away. And that's whenever he got arrested, they went to his childhood home, his grandmother's house, and his apartment. And that's where they found all the remains. And some of them it took years and years to identify, because obviously even in the 90s, the DNA stuff wasn't as diverse as it is now. And Clout, let me ask you this, man. You said second last episode of Dahmer you could not watch. Is that the one with the death victim? If I'm not mistaken, his name was Tony. That one was a rough one to watch too, because in the series on the Dahmer thing on Netflix, they actually show Jeffrey Dahmer like communicating him with like pieces of paper to a deaf person because he didn't know sign language. And then, yeah.
I don't know. All I know is, man, is I don't get anxious, especially for a TV show. I can watch some of the most. I mean, I've sat through Faces of Death and all of those. I can sit there and watch the real shooting videos on YouTube and stuff like that. It's one thing that gets me. What's up, me? The one thing that gets me is
Hey, what's up? Welcome in.
Man, my train of thought just hit a cow.
That's okay. Are you still talking about Dahmer?
Yep.
Okay.
So the first episode.
Yes.
You know, and I'm not trying to be stereotypical, but watching that episode, the whole episode, I was just like the black lady in the movie theater, like, oh no, child, don't go in there.
Yeah, don't do that. Yeah.
He had all the red flags.
Yeah.
I mean,
but see, the thing is in the series, it shows how he got to that stage. I mean, because he was in the military and he was a medical specialist. And so he learned pharmaceutical, and then he would learn the drug name and go, what does that do again? And they go, oh, well, if you take a high dose of it, it makes you like sleepy and you pass out. Oh, okay, cool. And then went to the pharmacy and jacked a bunch of pills. He initially got kicked out of the army for it.
Yeah. All right. So
doing good. How are you?
The one thing that I got, the one thing that I got was all the opportunities, like watching that victim, like when they were in the living room.
Yeah.
I don't care if that dude was on the third floor. If I knew I was about to be killed by a dude, I'm jumping out the window.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's what I even thought. Like literally,
and,
like I told the wife that. Like, why doesn't he jump out the window? Jump out the window. Jump out the window. Like, but it's just because the drug. The craziest one he did is he ended up drugging himself, and then don't remember shit. And see, everybody's so like Netflix originally had it in the like the LGBTQT section. And then a bunch of people got upset about it and pulled it off, as they should, because he went around killing a bunch of homosexual people and lured them at a gay bar, which is horrible because, like, it just, the stuff that he did with, especially that 14-year-old boy, that 14-year-old boy was the worst because, like, the worst. He was like, you don't remember me? You actually got in trouble for molesting my brother. And Jeffrey Dahmer was like, nah, I don't remember that. And he got arrested for it. And and this kid, he turned him into a fucking walking zombie, like drilled a 1/4-inch hole on the side of his head and poured muriatic acid in it. And then he just got up, got out of the apartment, and all the neighbors called the cops. And the cops were like, what's going on here? And Jeffrey Dahmer was like, oh, that's my boyfriend. We're just drunk and we're having an argument. Can we please go inside? This is embarrassing. And the cops made the kid go back inside, never identified him. Like, hold on. I'm actually gonna look up the cops' names because those fucking cops, fuck those guys.
Yeah, because the worst thing about it was back then, it's not like it is now. It wasn't
as
accepted. So
right.
It would have been just as bad in the 50s, you know.
Yeah, no, for sure. So John Balzarak is one of the cops from that night, and he actually died May 27th, 1991. So,
oh darn.
Yeah, right. I mean, these two cocksuckers, dude. They got fired initially because the chief was getting a bunch of fucking flack and smoke from the city, on top of Jesse Jackson coming into town. You know, when the Reverend comes to town, shit hit the fan. You know what I mean? So the chief fired them initially, and then, like, my thing is, I'm all for the police and everything, but they shouldn't be, in my opinion, unionized. They shouldn't be a union, because then they can get away with shit like that, like they did with, ignoring the signs of somebody in distress.
Well, like, and then that being said, the unions in 1986 or 1986, the 80s and early 90s compared to now.
Yeah, dude, like it's so complete.
The transparency.
Yeah, man.
Now, especially with all of the recent events,
Yeah, man. And see, the police, everybody says the police always need to be policing or be policed themselves. And that's very true, because not all cops are bad. But
who polices the police and who judges the judges.
Exactly, man. So. Exactly. That's my thought. Exactly. But I mean, Dahmer is, up there. Obviously you also have Ted Bundy, who was going around in the mid 70s or I'm sorry, mid to late 70s, early 80s, around college towns and just murdering college girls. He actually escaped prison and custody twice, but then was like, you know what, I can't do this. I'm coming back. Like, what the fuck? What the, like, you jump out of a 2-story window at a courtroom in Colorado and go into the mountains and disappear for 4 days, and nobody can find you. You could have been in 3 states by then, gone. But instead, he was like, man, I was stuck in the wilderness. I just couldn't do it.
He ran out of toilet paper, and the first time he had to use a pine cone, he was it.
Yeah, dude, he was done.
Like you go back like John Wayne Gacy. I mean, can you imagine? He did that stuff like around with people. Like,
John Wayne Gacy was a staple in the community. Let's just start there. John Wayne Gacy was one of those guys that was a Mason, birthday clown. He was Santa. He dressed up as Santa for the kids.
My main thing is, even if you have a pier and beam house, the most you need to go underneath that house is like once a year.
Yeah, man.
Wouldn't you think that if you've seen it for like the 4th time, because it's not like a basement, it's a pier and beam house. So you actually have to make special provisions to get underneath it.
But see, his was inside the house. There was a crawl space in the bathroom.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, in some houses, or like my buddy who lives out in Cleveland, his old house used to be like that. He had a crawl space to get to his plumbing underneath in his daughter's closet. It was like a little 4x8, little whatever. And he pull it off and get under. And I mean, what John Wayne Gacy did is he would make his victims dig their own fucking graves, or go down there and dig as construction pay, because he ran a construction business. And that's how he killed most of his victims. He'd be like, you look like a young, strapping young man. You want to come and work for me? And then ended up drugging them like Dahmer did, and then torturing them, raping them, killing them, and then burying them in the crawl space. There was 35 or 37 bodies that pulled out from his house. Like, it's unreal. And then you also have, like we've already talked about, like with the fame and popularity of just putting their name out there or getting their name. I mean, John Wayne Gacy denied everything to the day he died. Ted Bundy did the same thing, but Bundy fucking was a G.
Yeah, and he told you he did it while he's smiling, looking at you in the eyes, saying, well, I did it, but I didn't do it.
Well, see, no, Bundy actually fucking confessed like an hour, I think it was, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody look it up or quote. I could be wrong, but from the documentaries that I've seen about him, he actually like went to like not confessional, but before they were like, any last words, and he was like, yeah, I did it. Like, you got me. Like, I could have told you all the bodies and but yeah, like he confessed the killing, but he never didn't want, because he could have told them where, because they never found all the bodies. All the bodies, it's so spanned across the entire fucking country, dude. East Coast to West Coast.
Yeah, look, at one time he's in Oregon, then he's in Idaho, then he's in Texas,
then he's in Florida. Yep. But then you also have, like, going back to Dahmer, to me, everybody blames his dad, because his dad, in the series, it shines a light on how his dad wanted to bond with his son. And so they started dissecting roadkill in the garage together and taking out the organs of a raccoon or whatever twisted shit that is. Because that's a whole nother, like taxidermy is a whole nother hobby, but that's like with like deer and shit, not like fucking, the cat next door or something. You know what I mean? So, plus Dahmer was just sick and twisted with, I forgot what it's called when you get a sexual arousal from like guts and blood and like pain and fear and somebody or something, because that's how Dahmer got off. And like,
that ought to tell you, since I don't know it.
No, it gets like I said, it gets, the Dahmer series for sure got twisted, and it goes from 0 to 100 super fast, super fast. If you guys have not checked it out, it's on Netflix. Evan Peters, Niecy Nash. I swear, like I even saw the meme. I think you told me about it. It said like, hopefully somebody gets him help for this, because if not, he's gonna Heath Ledger himself, because he just dove into this role.
That was just what I posted.
Yeah, dude,
it wasn't even a meme. That was just a post I put on Facebook.
Right,
I was like, I can see it.
Yeah, dude.
And the Joker wasn't nearly as dark as
what
this is.
No.
So, and then you look at, so you've got a variety of different personalities. And here recently, and especially dealing with Texas,
yeah,
is down in Laredo, there was a Laredo serial killer, and he killed 4 prostitutes.
Okay.
His name was John David Ortiz.
Ooh, I think
and he was a border patrol agent. He was a police officer. And the beginning, he started off helping these women. He wasn't going to them for sex. He would take them food and he would give them money.
and then just kill them.
No, and then like that's how it started off. And then he picked up a couple and he would take them back to his house and pay them to sit with him and eat dinner. But that was it. And like even the women that were like that never, they were like it was weird. But then all of a sudden, all of these just started passing away and disappearing, and he ended up getting caught up with it.
Yeah, no, and see that's the thing is they some of them want to get caught though. That's the thing is they want to get caught though. Like you know they like you said excuse me, they have the want to be their name to be etched in stone or
it goes
in history.
back to Achilles. Yeah. Achilles would have never gone to war if that wasn't the way to get his name.
Right.
If any way in it, I don't know if it's masculine or testosterone. I know a lot of and don't get me wrong, we'll go there in a second. For whatever reason,
dude, Clout saying, Clout, bro, if I were you, I would move. Get out of Wisconsin. There's serial killers all over that. I mean, you got
Minnesota. They ain't got nothing to do.
No, right?
Oh my God, man. But you know, a lot of it, I think, is just testosterone. It's just a desire to have your legacy.
Yeah.
You know, like I know that when I die, that for however long it stays up, I'm going to at least have 1,000 videos on YouTube.
Right.
That will be my legacy.
Right.
You know? And then with obviously my kids, my legacy.
Right.
Too.
I was about to say that's for me. Hopefully,
you know,
my kids, my son, my daughter's legacy.
If
yeah, for
kids
sure.
Aren't
for sure.
Your legacy, you're doing it wrong.
Right.
But look at this. Look at all of the ones we're talking about. How many kids did Ted Bundy have?
1.
Did he really?
Yes.
Jesus, I need to read more. I know Jeffrey Dahmer didn't.
No, John Wayne Gacy had 2 kids.
Yeah.
And he actually, and then if you want to dive into serial killers that have kids, like the BTK.
Well,
killer.
see, BTK was freaking daddy of the year.
Yeah, man.
Dude, he was at every recital.
Yep.
I
mean, dude, he was an animal control officer.
Yep.
So that's how he blended into the public, and then he was, you know, binding, torturing, and killing housewives.
And what's ironic was this morning where I was watching a video with Sammy the Bull Gravano.
Oh yeah.
And he was talking about how Roy DeMeo got whacked.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason Roy DeMeo got whacked was he was just out of control and was killing too many people.
Right.
And this was coming from a hitman.
Yeah.
That says we are not serial killers. Well, motherfucker, yes, you are.
Yeah. I mean, but also the thing is not necessarily, because in that lifestyle, if you're talking like mob style versus just straight serial killer, mob style, it's a lifestyle, it's a family thing, it's honor, and it's a whole especially because I mean, I don't even think the mob's really a thing anymore per se. It might be, I could be wrong, but I just, you know, back in the like you said, Sammy, what's his name?
Sammy the Bull.
Yeah, dude, he was a
G and look,
for sure.
Dude, I'm not going to say anything. I hope he got the mob still here, but
right,
it's not as strong because if it was, Sammy the Bull Gravano wouldn't be putting YouTube.
Yeah, dude, he would.
Michael Francesi would
all these old guys that used to be made men and shit. Yeah, for sure.
No, I mean it goes back. It's like Noah Marte. There's this thing of ours. No.
Yeah.
Now, when you're as opposed to doing it for money or for sexual gratification, I believe they are serial killers.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're doing something consistently with a pattern, whether it's for money, pleasure, whatever.
Yeah.
The moment you kill more than one person, you're a serial killer.
Right.
I mean,
But or like you said, but see in the mob they classified that as just that's a hitman or that's his job. You know what I mean? Exactly. But I get what you're saying.
Based on logic.
Mm-hmm.
You know. I mean, it was just like my kids when they were younger trying to justify why they did something wrong.
Right.
In their head, it's
right.
It's not. And that's
right.
The mobs.
Yeah, it's really kind of ass backwards for sure.
You know, but it also so now we said men.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to look at the one in Florida. Was it Arlene? I can't even.
Arlene Wazarski or some shit like
monster movie.
Yeah, dude. She played a phenomenal role in that movie. She was awesome, and that's another good watch if you haven't seen it. Because I mean, there's so many documentaries out there or movies based off of serial killers. I mean, but also, I mean, Clout, for example, buddy, there was another one, and I think it was Milwaukee, but it was from 1947 to 57. He was the Plainfield Butcher,
Yep.
and he did almost exactly what Dahmer did, except he wouldn't drug them. He would just like knock them out with a hammer and then take them and butcher them in his barn.
Yeah, what movie was that? There's a movie about it. I can't think of the name.
I don't know. It's in the Dahmer series, man.
Yeah.
They talk about it in the Dahmer series because initially what went, I mean, it always goes back to Dahmer. I mean, you have Dahmer, Bundy, and Gacy. Those are like the top three that most people know, that you know of. You may not know everything about them. Like I do a little bit. I'm not saying I'm an expert in any means, but I know a little bit about all those dudes. But then you also have like Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker. That was a good one. That story that was very intriguing because that was, like you said, it wasn't really fame with him, but it became fame because the moment he walked in that courtroom, girls were like, "Oh my God, you're so
That's
loud."
another thing. What the fuck is wrong with you,
bro? Charles
You
Manson girls,
Okay,
whole
who
9 yards.
is it that married, had 11 kids over like 9 years, married some woman in prison, and over 11 years had conjugal visits and sired 11 kids, and then they took conjugal visits away.
I don't know. I'd have to.
Yeah.
Holmes. Jack the Ripper. Jack the Ripper is a good one too, for sure.
That H.H. Holmes probably was.
Oh man, yeah.
Well, I don't know. Well, he was. I still think it was. No, I don't know. Good thing he's dead though.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. And see, and that's the thing is, that's initially what ends up. And I think they all know that. And then most of them, because there's some people out there that want, they're so sick and twisted that they want death for themselves. Like Dahmer wanted the death penalty, but Wisconsin didn't have it at the time, and they brought it back because of him. Like they brought that shit back because of him,
and didn't even get to use it.
Nope, because well, I mean, he also justified, in my opinion, the guy that killed him did the state a favor, did whatever, because then taxpayers aren't paying for him to live in prison, because he could have died in prison. Just died as natural causes, but instead he got what he deserved because the dude that actually killed him hit him 17 times in the face with a weight barbell. Like, dude, that's in the series too. I'm sorry, spoiler alert, but I'm just saying, like, this shit's intense. Like, if you have not seen it, go see it. Watch it on Netflix. Don't binge watch it though, like me and the wife did a little bit, because I mean, I don't know if it's everybody has a stomach for that stuff, because it gets dicey. It gets dicey for sure. But I mean, you have also one of my there was a murder that.
Yep, Douglas J. Griffin.
Dressed as an Easter bunny.
He is the bunny man, dude. That's fucked up. Dude, you're gonna kill me already? Don't fucking kill me dressed as a fucking rabbit.
No,
I don't need
bro.
to get Donnie Darko, dude.
Yeah, dude, Donnie Darko for sure. You don't want that.
No, that was in Fairfax County.
Fairfax County, where? In
probably Virginia.
Oh, really?
Connecticut, East Coast. Fairfax is usually East Coast shit.
Right.
But Jesus Christ, dude.
That's another twist. I mean, John Wayne Gacy did the same thing, except he was like I said, he was a staple in the community. He would dress up as a clown and go to like kids' birthday parties or go to the Shiners Club and do whatever. That one.
No, that's fucked up. Yeah, that's what I was reading here.
Wow. No, that's crazy. That's crazy. I mean, any other ones that you guys have you want to throw out? I mean, obviously there's the top 3, 4, or 5, whatever, that everybody knows. Bunny Skin and Modern Warfare for last year. Oh yeah,
that was the Donnie Darko
dude. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. I just to me, I think, I mean, most like Bundy got executed, John Wayne Gacy got executed, Dahmer got killed in prison by another inmate.
Wait, okay, so I mean, you just got to think. When we started talking about like most serial killers do it for the fame.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine how many serial killers that are out there doing it right that we don't know about, that we're not talking about
because they haven't been caught.
They've been going,
yeah.
Because I'm not saying I'm a serial killer, but if I was,
right,
this is how I do it.
Right, OJ.
You get a job,
yeah,
where you travel,
yeah,
and You just do stuff as you go around.
Yeah.
You know?
And
you don't do stuff where you're going.
Right.
You
You
do stuff
like on your way out of
to where you're
town, or
going.
exactly.
You know,
Bro, that's exactly what
hold
the
on,
doctor
write this stuff.
the doctor said, or was right. Let me take a quick note real quick. But no, even in the Dahmer series, it talks about like what they think is the big thing with serial killers in this country is the highway system, because you can literally get on. Even here in Texas, you could get on Interstate 20 and kill somebody and then be gone within a couple hours. But also Texas is also a bad example because it takes 2 days to get fucking out of the state.
See, all right, so look at it.
He hasn't been found. What?
Like nowadays.
What?
Nowadays.
That's insane.
Nowadays, you can't go nowhere.
Right.
Without your picture being taken.
Right.
Whether you like it or not.
Right.
Even if you're not on a toll road, there's cameras on every underpass that you go under.
Right.
Almost.
Right.
Whether it be for your protection, the police, for or just for like here, TxDOT has them all so they can monitor traffic conditions and stuff like that.
Right.
So, if you're really going to do it, you just hop trains because
trains are a lot. Yeah. They found 2 dead children in a shed. Wow. Damn. And they said they never even found anything. They just haven't found the guy that did it.
And it really amazes me with this day and age.
They think that something like that can still happen, and they don't. Yeah.
Because like back in the day when they were mailing in all them letters to the when Son of Sam,
Zodiac, yeah, man.
They were licking the crap out of that.
Yeah, dude. And see, that's the thing is
so they're leaving all that. And if you go back now and check the DNA,
they could do that with the Zodiac if they wanted to, man. But it's just been so long.
I don't think it's that they want to. I think they did. They didn't like what they found.
Probably. Like you said with the Colonial Parkway, that they thought he was like a cop. That person could have been a reporter or a cop or something like a little bit of both, a retired cop or because like that's another one. There's I can't exactly remember where it is, but it was like a cop, but he was a serial killer too, and he would like arrest people and then they would never be seen again.
75 and 95 or 85. So I was that's a year born.
I was born in 86, so I'm a little younger, but still
I didn't do it.
Right. No, it wasn't him.
It's just wild. The thought like I hunt.
Right.
And even like the last deer I shot years ago, man, just it put something different,
Right. And I mean, but it's also like it's a respect thing too.
The fact that and it's like I can't even, and I'm an exterminator, dude.
Mm-hmm.
That's my job is to kill shit. But I understand, but I'm also the type of guy, if I can get a rat into a box
and take it out,
move him somewhere else,
you're good to go.
But logistically and reasonably, I know that that's just not the one.
Yeah.
So I put a piece of bait and I don't have to see it.
Mm-hmm.
I come back, the bait's gone. I know the job's done.
Yep.
But I couldn't personally take the rat. I couldn't do it.
Right.
But the fact that there's some people that just don't have that part of their brain.
Right. Or it's like even like when Dahmer died, his mother wanted to take his brain and get it examined, but his dad was like, no, he's in North Carolina.
Ah, nice.
No, that's crazy. See, it's always like North Carolina, Virginia, I mean, Wisconsin, like those like small rural states where they got those back roads where, he did it in North Carolina. Okay.
Well, I can tell you where I grew up in Virginia,
uh-huh,
in Yorktown, Hampton, Williamsburg, and all that area.
Right.
There to get to North Carolina,
yeah,
you just go Route 17,
and it's just
and 17 will take
roads.
You all the way from New York. You can, and it cuts through all these. Dude, it bypasses through everything. I can go all the way down in the middle of the mountains in North Carolina on 17.
Dude, that'd be dope.
So it's
I've always wanted to take. I needed to get a trip out there.
Well, and then you got Carolina. You got the Great Dismal Swamp. You got the alligators.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, that's another thing. That's you got
Virginia.
People,
you have all the pig farms, Smithfield.
That is one thing people always tend to forget, that wild hogs will eat bone and all. Bone.
If there's anything Hannibal taught us.
Right. And see, that's another thing is you don't see, like, I'm glad. I mean, nowadays Hollywood is kind of like not glorifying serial killing or whatever, but like you said, with like the Hannibal Lecter movies, there wasn't really another movie series kind of like it besides like
The movies didn't glorify it, but the TV show did.
Okay.
The movie showed the monster that Hannibal Lecter was, and of course, Hannibal Lecter is not a real person.
Right.
He is
fictional character.
He's
for
a
sure.
fictional character based of like a mashup of several other
What?
different ones.
Where's this museum out? I want to go. There's a museum about murders that is haunted. I am down because my wife is into ghost stuff. I'm not really. Yeah. Like I'm the kind of jokester that I'm just like, come on, ghost, what you gonna do? What you gonna do?
Evil over and Zach gets thrown out
yeah,
of third story.
Yeah,
window.
I'm gone.
Okay.
I'm dead. Yeah. But no, I just like it's weird, man. It's really weird because I mean, it's so how, like you said, with the part of the brain, like where does your mind have to go, or what do you have to experience trauma wise? Because I know in America they've already said some serial killers is linked to like being molested as a kid or being bullied severely as a kid or being abused by your parents or abused by a other adult, whatever. So I don't understand what makes somebody want to go out and not, like you said, hunt, I guess, because you hunt animals, but like Dahmer hunted people.
Well, see, I hunt pigs.
Yeah.
And hogs.
Yeah.
Now, the
sure.
reason being is those hogs at any given time have just as much opportunity to get me as I do. Now, if they ever start strapping AK-47s to deer antlers,
then
it's back on. Then it's even squared. You know, but like I said, it all goes back to, as a society, we're going to glamorize it. And
or find a way to make money off of it.
Okay, and it's funny you say that. Here I am walking around a military base this morning.
Okay.
And there's an older lady, probably in her mid-50s. I say older, she's probably only 5 years older than me.
And Zach Pagan. And are you talking about like Ghost Adventures?
Yeah, that's the one in New Orleans.
Oh, no, he actually has John Wayne Gacy stuff.
Yep.
Yes. Okay, yeah, no. I mean, I would love to take a trip to New Orleans, man.
But it's just unreal.
No, for sure, because I mean, the thing is then also like with like Son of Sam, he was going after, like, he was kind of like the Colonial Park guy. He was going after couples, but also mainly like the couples. The female had to have brunette hair, like it was a brunette thing for him. I don't know what it was.
I bet his mom had brunette hair. And I bet she beat the fuck out of him.
Probably.
You know, and his first girlfriend had.
Well, with Son of Sam, what it was a mental thing. Like, I'll tell you this right now, in this country, the mental health of like taking care of anybody mental health wise is garbage. The mental health system in this country sucks. They need to revamp it, do whatever, but that's a whole nother whatever. But no, his thing is he was, the dog next door was telling him to kill. Yeah, dude. Like, or like, he wasn't a serial killer, but the guy that killed John Lennon, he read that book, The Catcher in the Rye, and that book told him to kill John Lennon, and it would just so crazy, like the way people's minds work.
And, you know, it's just like the movie Summer of Sam.
Yeah.
You know, the movie was serious as hell, and when they put the talking dog in there, I lost it. I said, I should not be laughing at this.
Yeah, same.
But it did.
Yeah, dude, for sure, because it was a little comical to think. I mean, I have a dark sense of humor.
I also understand why, because they were trying to the whole movie that you're seeing it through everybody else's perspective.
Yeah,
and then they were showing it through his.
Right.
You know, which is all well and good, but
see, that's how the Dahmer series.
I just don't see it justified.
The Dahmer series shows the side from the victim side, which is. You know, it's in the story's been told. Everybody knows Dahmer did what he did and whatever. I think the most twisted thing out of everything is the fact that his neighbor used to have, Glenda Cleveland used to have lunch with him on 2 occasions that it has been reported. She had 2 lunches with the man and ate 1 or 2 bites of a sandwich the man made him. That thing, like in the series, that it kind of shines light on that a little bit, but it's the weirdest thing, man, because, you know, they actually, you know, after Dahmer got arrested and they demolished the apartment complex for the family's sake. So the family couldn't, you know, have to drive by and see that eyesore and know that that's where their son was, that spent their last moment or whatever. But they didn't even, like, the city of Milwaukee dropped the ball so hard because originally they were going to build some kind of park and throw up a memorial so the victims, like you said, the victims and any serial killing or any kind of murder situation are always the one left in the dark. Like,
and I know it's easier,
yeah,
because it's one person.
Yeah,
you know, and,
yeah,
you know, it's easier to know the name of one person than it is to know the name of 18 people.
Right, right.
You know, so it very, you know.
The Conjuring house. I don't know about that one. I'm not. Yeah. Nope. I don't know about.
She's actually got one in Virginia. There's the lady from The Conjuring has it's in Virginia Beach.
Really?
Yeah, I meant to go there the last time.
Dude, I'm not. There. See, I'm not. I'll watch any kind of spooky, gooky horror, you know, whatever. But for me, I'm like cheesy horror. You know, like even dude, like there's parts in the Dahmer series where I was like, ooh, ooh, ooh. Like it's because it just, as a human being, if you do not get that reaction by watching something like that, then A, you're a serial killer yourself, or B, you're just completely dead inside.
I said that straight up on Facebook. I said, yeah, I just finished watching the first episode. There should be a 1 to 2 week break between episodes.
Yeah.
And I said straight up, all of y'all that are binge watching this show scared the fuck out of me.
Yeah, man. I mean, to think of just the yeah. The only thing is he like it was so good though, because Evan Peters is such a good actor. Like, if anybody out there is an Evan Peters fan, I didn't know about him until I met my wife, because she's a horror person. I mean, like, you and your wife are into horror too. Like, y'all go to like the horror conventions and whatever. Me and my wife my wife is very, very big into Halloween horror. You know, she wants to see, you know, all the scary, The Conjuring, all those movies. But to me, I'm like, yeah, no, I'd rather watch like Jason or Ghostface, like right here. I'd watch this guy all day, like, because that's cheesy funny to me. Like, when it gets real, it gets a little real.
And what's funny is you say that. Like, I can see the Jason because it's unrealistic.
Okay,
it's unrealistic that you're going to go camping,
right?
And a dead kid
is going to come out of the lake.
Go. First off, you were 12 when you died.
Right?
How the fuck did you keep growing? Second, you know,
like, how do you go from 12 to 47? Like how does that happen? Yeah,
you know,
if you're dying.
So
you're
so you got that. You got the Freddy's. You got the Mike. You know, and I'm not. No, hold on. So I'm gonna say just you got the Pinheads. You've got all of those are scary.
They're making a new
but
one.
They're unrealistic.
They're making a female Pinhead.
I know, I saw that. It's coming out.
That's gonna be a good one.
The ones that scare me are this guy.
Yeah,
because it's not just all you got to do
is throw that mask on.
I could be a serial killer tonight.
Yeah, and go out and do that. And see, that's the thing.
But you look at Michael Myers.
Mm-hmm.
You look at some of these movies like The Shining.
Yeah.
I mean, take away everything from The Shining that has to do with ghosts.
Right.
The rest of that's all very possible. You lock yourself into a place for 3 months in isolation,
or not even lock your. Was it they? Because I've only seen The Shining like once or twice. Wasn't it? They didn't get. It wasn't. They got snowed in.
Well, they knew they were going to get snowed in. Okay. That's why they were there.
Right on.
They were up there to be the caretakers for the winter.
Right.
Knowing full well, so you knew going in, you had the mental capacity to get through 3-4 months.
Right.
Of just
Pennywise.
Okay, Pennywise.
Yeah.
Okay, for something that's not realistic, Pennywise is so scary as fuck. Anything that turns into a giant spider.
Yes, like, bro. Oh, even though you're a pest guy.
I don't like spiders.
Really?
That's why I'm a pest guy.
Oh.
So you go and you start. And what's funny is you can almost make a comparison between some real. You know, you got to think like Rob Zombie's House of a Thousand Corpses,
right?
Well, and Texas Chainsaw Massacre,
right?
All of those go back to one guy.
Yeah,
Ed Gein.
Yeah,
and even Ed Gein inspired Psycho.
Yep.
You know, it's amazing how one guy
can inspire so much. Yeah,
that was just. And I'll go back and I'll defend Ed Gein. That was his mental capacity,
right? It's like because we talked about it already with the mental state of people when they're like that. Like
you just don't know.
You don't have any idea. But see, like even the BTK killer, he was, like you said, Father of the Year, normal dude, had a 40-hour-a-week job, went home, but then had
Everything he did was calculated.
yes, like he got up at this time, went to work at this time, had a cup of coffee at this time, ate lunch, like everything. He had a schedule, a routine schedule.
See, and I'm not. I like playing things as they go, and I don't. Anytime I have a schedule or something, like all morning, I've been stressing out about the show.
Why?
Because I knew it was coming up, and I didn't. I was like, okay, I got 20 minutes to do this. I got 30 minutes to do that. You know,
Right,
so,
right. I mean, I kind of the same way because we were kind of rushing to get over in this area per se because our studio is over in this part of town and we live over in Arlington. So, but I mean, it's gonna be fun to see what they do next, honestly, because I think, like I told the wife, I honestly think with this Dahmer series that they should or they will kind of open the floodgates a little
well,
bit.
there was a Bundy movie last year with Zac Efron.
Oh, that was dope.
And it was good, but it didn't get nowhere near
not as graphic,
and it wasn't nearly didn't get the acclaim.
No,
you know, and
honestly, because it's Zac Efron. I'm sorry, I like the guy; he's a good actor or whatever, but he doesn't have the chops to play a serial killer.
I mean, and poor Evan Peters, man. I mean, hell, the first role he played in American Horror Story was a school shooter.
Yep.
Imagine having to be that. I was like, I couldn't. That would be what would put me in therapy.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And having to wear that latex suit.
Oh, dude, no, that. And then he was Lobster Boy.
Goatman Bridge.
Huh?
There is a Goatman Bridge here in Texas.
Yeah. I've heard of the Goatman Bridge. If I'm not mistaken,
and then they got those railroad tracks.
The railroad tracks out in is it Cleburne?
Yeah, it's 20 minutes from here.
Yeah, out in Cleburne where it's the story.
And your car will roll backwards.
Yeah. You got to put like flour on your bumper or something. You get like the handprints because of the bus accident. Yeah.
Creepy.
There's also another one out in Cleburne off Old Foamy Road. I don't know if the house is still there, but when I was a kid growing up out there, there was an old abandoned house that looked like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but it was like a shed. No power to it, but the front porch light was always on. Always on. Always on.
Damn.
Yeah, man.
Well, once again, it's Halloween.
Yeah, it's Halloween season. Everybody, I think, I don't know what the next episode is going to entail. I mean, I think we might.
I think with it being Halloween, we're probably going to continue with the
horror.
Theme.
We could do horror,
So, what we're going to ask over the next week. Go back to this video, drop ideas in the chat,
guys,
in the comments.
Go into the comments, hit the like, subscribe. We have a Facebook page. We also have our own YouTube channel now. So, guys, go out there, share, like, follow, all the above, because every little thing and whatever helps or gets us to where we want to be.
And you guys definitely rock for hanging out.
Yeah,
with
just help. Yeah, for sure. All four of you. Thank you so much because one is better than none or four, whatever. You guys are all awesome. So we're going to go ahead and sign off now. But you guys have a safe week. Be good to each other. And like Scott said, drop any comments because I think next episode we're going to do like horror theme, like pictures, movies. And we could even start back in how like the old school like classic horror movies.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
That's a good one.
All right.
But anyway, guys, be safe.
Be safe.
We'll talk to you at the next episode.
Yeah, hop in tonight at 9 when I jump into Warzone and I become the serial killer.
Oh!
Later.
Later, guys.